Well, ladies and gentlemen, g'day, and welcome back to World of Tanks News, here with your news presenter, Economics Mate. And in today's news report, we are reporting on Russian regulators are trying to seize assets related to World of Tanks. Russia's prosecutor general has taken issue with Wargaming support of Ukraine. Yeah, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. This is big news. This is big news coming about regarding Wargaming and, of course, Lesta. Basically, what's happened is it turns out that top executives from World of Tanks, Wargaming, and, of course, Lesta have basically had their stakes in their respective companies seized by the Russian government because of their support of Ukraine during this war. Now, do keep in mind that Wargaming originally was based in Belarus, and because Belarus is essentially part of Russia, it's essentially just a separate nation to Russia, they obviously are technically supposed to be working together. Obviously, I don't want to go too much into politics and whatnot, but that's essentially the reasoning behind it. And Russia did not take too kindly to the fact that, Wargaming and it turns out Lesta are actually, supporting Ukraine with this war. So it's very interesting to see how this is actually turning out as a result. Now, do keep in mind that obviously we all know that Wargaming is responsible for the development of Water Tanks and Water Tanks Blitz, amongst other sort of Wargaming products like World of Warships and World of Warships Blitz. And World Tanks console. Of course, Lesta being in charge of the Russian versions of these games, specifically World Tanks and World Tanks Blitz. So it's, very, very interesting indeed. Now, specifically, we're talking about Malik Katazahev, I can't really pronounce that name, can I? The head of Lesta Games, and Viktor Kisley, the head of Wargaming, are reportedly being accused of extremist activities by Russia's Prosecutor General, the country's equivalent of the US Attorney General, really? The Attorney General, because of Wargaming support of Ukraine, which of course is what the RIA reports. The Prosecutor General is looking to seize all of the executives' shares in their respective companies. This is really big news indeed. This is like a huge thing. Like, if you thought that it was just going to be Lesta, boy oh boy, are you incorrect. This is very, very interesting indeed, and concerning. This is actually concerning, because if the Russian government do in fact seize all of the assets and the stakes in both the Wargaming and the Lesta versions of World of Tanks and World of Tanks Blitz and all the other subsidiaries, this can mean this can be a big deal. It'd be a big deal for us as gamers, and as people who play World of Tanks, especially for CCs. It's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen. Now, there has been a statement, obviously, from Wargaming about this, stating that Wargaming made a strategic exit from the Russian and Belarusian markets 3 years ago. The company disposed of its business in Russia and Belarus to the local management at zero cost and on a debt-free, cash-free basis with no consideration to take it back. Wargaming doesn't have any assets or business interests in Russia or Belarus. So it seems interesting it seems interesting that the Russian government specifically is now interested in taking over the assets and stakes from the Wargaming side as well as the Lesta side. I can understand the Lesta side, if the Lesta side, because it is based obviously in Russia and Belarus, I can understand why they would want to remove, or rather take over the assets there, and take over the operations if the Russian brands, or rather the Russian branches, are in fact in support of Ukraine. But why would they want to take over the Wargaming part? Because the Wargaming are no longer in operations in Belarus or Russia. They're actually in Cyprus at the moment, and they've been there for the last 3 years. So it doesn't make any sense at all. But yeah, it was 2022 when Wargaming split its Belarusian and Russian offices with its regular offices, and now they're operating out of Cyprus. And this is obviously in 2022 when Russia began a full-scale invasion of Ukraine in that same year. In response, Wargaming ran a campaign in War Tanks raising money for medical aid in Ukraine in 2023. As a result, the Russian government has decided to interrupt that pro-Ukrainian fundraising as or rather interpret as anti-Russian extremist activity. Yeah, that's right, ladies and gentlemen, you heard that right. The Russian government currently is stating that they're basically interpreting this, or rather this interpretation is being seen as an anti-Russian extremist activity for the fact that Wargaming were raising money and funds for aid to the Ukraine. This is absolutely fucking insane. This is insane. This is ridiculous. And then, of course, there's another thing here. It's like why Lesta Games is being accused of the same thing isn't entirely clear, because obviously Lesta did not do this thing. Lesta was not the one that was making the fundraiser. It was Wargaming. And as I said, Wargaming are no longer operating in Belarus or in Russia anymore. They've been out of those two countries or those two regions for about 3 years, if not more than 3 years now. And it's been Lesta that's been there. So this is crazy accusations. Even though the company that's technically still under the Prosecutor General's jurisdiction. So even though Wargaming is no longer in operation in those countries, technically speaking, it's still under Prosecutor General's jurisdiction. It's crazy to think that this is actually happening right now. Of course, Lesta Games commented on the reports in a company Telegram channel, according to the RBC, writing that the company works in full compliance with legislation of the Russian Federation and the Republic of Belarus. So we have no grounds for any concerns or concealment of information. We have not violated anything, and we have nothing to fear. It's crazy, man. It really... Oh, we don't want to see that. We don't want to see that other headline. It's insane, man. This is crazy. This is crazy stuff. It's insane to think that water tanks Blitz and water tanks itself are going to possibly be under the control of the Russian government is... It's crazy, man. This is insane. And I'm not just saying this as a community contributor for the game. I mean, I signed NDAs. I signed an NDA, I sent in my, my personal info, whatever, to become a CC. And this is just crazy. Because the people I've been interacting with now, who do I interact with now? Like, if this is going to turn into an absolute shit show, because it is, I guarantee you it is, it's going to cause a lot of issues, man. There's so many eyebrows that are going to be raised. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. All because Wargaming had a fundraiser for medical aid for the Ukraine back in 2023. And for some reason, the Russian government has now seen that as extremist behavior against the Russian government and the Russian people. And as a result, they're going to seize, or rather they've already technically seized a bit of the assets already and the stakes, and they want to take over the entire company. And they want to take over Wargaming. Like, Wargaming hasn't been operating in Belarus or in Russia for the last 3 years. They removed themselves because of the war. That was the whole idea. And that's now we got Lesta, and now Lesta is under fire, even though they haven't done anything to violate their Russian masters. This is crazy stuff. This is insane. I would go as far as to say this is so fucking petty. It's so petty. Like, insane. This is insane stuff. This is so petty to think that, a government would want to take over a gaming company because they're fundraising money to support aid in a country that's being persecuted. That's crazy stuff. This is insane, guys. This is really, really crazy to think that this is actually happening, and so fucking petty from the Russian government to be bringing this thing up for a company that doesn't even operate in their bloody country anymore. But because, obviously, Wargaming were once, or Lesta was part of Wargaming because the RU servers, they're sort of blaming now Lesta as well because, they were once one entity. That's crazy stuff. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of this situation. Now, I know Droodle's made a video. I know Cora made the video first. They made a video on this, obviously addressing these issues. Cora brought this to light. You know, in the CC chat as well, we were talking about this and discussing it to great lengths, and it was insane. Like, I heard about this and I was reading the things like, fucking hell, bloody, what's going on here? This is crazy, man. This is crazy stuff. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that is this video. This is what this video is about. It's just the future of Blitz is questionable. It's questionable. If this case is not won in the courts by Wargaming, we are going to be screwed as a player base. Because, and as CCs, we're going to be screwed as well, because we're going to be under new management. It's going to be crazy to see how this is going to play out. But yeah, this is crazy, man. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about all this situation and what your take is and what you think is going to happen. Otherwise, love you all. Look after yourselves. Look after your friends and family. Peace in the Middle East. And as always, I'll catch you on the battlefield. Bye for now.